Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Uncle Matt here live for our usual Friday night live stream. This has become the tradition. We do this every week now. Super excited to be here. Super fun weekend planned ahead. It is my birthday weekend. So, yeah, happy birthday to me. But beyond that, we've got arguably the biggest rivalry matchup for Nashville SC coming up tomorrow against FC Cincinnati. I'm currently watching the U.S. national team take on Grenada. 7-1 for the U.S. national team. It's probably the scoreline it should be because it's Grenada versus the U.S. But I don't know if I'm just I've been beaten down by the struggles and all the issues that have happened with the U.S. national team over the last year or so. But I'm honestly a little stunned how badly we've demolished this team. I missed their goal. I don't know how they scored, but that seems fitting that we couldn't just possibly just demolish a team and keep a clean sheet. We had to have given up a goal somewhere along the way. But yeah, hey, it is our Friday night live stream. Tomorrow is my birthday. Super excited for that. Got some big things planned this weekend, starting with Nashville SC back at Geodis Park tomorrow. They planned it out perfectly to have a home match on my birthday. Thank you, Nashville SC, for doing that. And be a home match on my birthday, but a home match against, arguably, and this has been debated all week long, potentially the team that could possibly be Nashville S. Sorry, I'm watching the match. Nashville SC's biggest rival in FC Cincinnati. And that seems to be a lot of the topic this week is this a rivalry match or is this just another game in the season? And it feels like on the Nashville SC side, we kind of feel like it's a rivalry, but it feels like the FC Cincinnati fans want to downplay it and act like it's not a rivalry. And, if I was in their shoes, if I'd been a multiple time wooden spoon winner, if I'd seen this other expansion team come into the league and make the playoffs every single year and, have a player win MVP, have, an immediate impact on the league as a whole, I would also be like, oh, no, they're not our rivals. We don't want to talk to them. Especially a team where going back through our USL history, they've never been able to beat us. They got past us in a USL playoff game that was decided on penalties. So you can debate if that's a win or is that a draw that was settled on penalties. But the fact of the matter is, to this point, FC Cincinnati has never beaten Nashville SC in a regulation match. So, and I also understand, Columbus is a more natural rival to them because, it's Ohio versus Ohio. But in a league like MLS, where you're not going to have a lot of in-state rivalries, you kind of have to. You can't deny your local rivals. I mean, they're 3 hours up the road. I've been up there. Their town's kind of trash. I've said it's trash. I've gotten attacked by their fans for saying it's trash. I've got people that I know that I'm friends with who are from Cincinnati who have said their town is trash. So, it is what it is. But, I'm all in it for the banter. I think the rivalries are fun. If I was FC Cincinnati, I would deny the rivalry too because they've had no success in the rivalry. And also, they've had no success in MLS until the last half year or so. But that's the thing that makes this whole thing interesting is suddenly, for the first time in their history, they're actually kind of a good team this season. It's kind of it's an impressive job they've done turning their team around the last year from being perennial wooden spoon contenders to a team that's at least offensively for sure one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. Chile still sucks though. But the matchup, it's going to be a huge matchup between Nashville SC and FC Cincinnati tomorrow at Geodis Park. And, I don't think MLS did us any favors in the way of building rivalries, building matchups, and making Nashville SC play in the Western Conference last season because I think there was a lot more heat between the teams 2 years ago and almost dissipated with us not playing FC Cincinnati but once last year. Or at all. Do we play them? I don't remember. But they did last year for the MLS rivalry weekend. We got played against Charlotte, so I guess Charlotte is our rival, which I'd be fine with. Charlotte would be a great team to have to be your rival because they are not very good. I would much rather have a rival be a terrible team like that than FC Cincinnati, who is suddenly looking like a really, really solid soccer team right now. I mean, they've got a really solid attack, one of the best attacking units in MLS right now. They've got a Acosta Brenner and Vasquez Brenner, who was like kind of like a joke for a while, has suddenly like turned into like a solid MLS player. And I can't help but think it's partly due to the fact that he keeps narrowly missing out on chances to leave FC Cincinnati, so he has to keep his play up. He has to keep performing to make sure that like one of these moves, one of these opportunities to leave FC Cincinnati finally cashes in, because he was supposed to go to like Forest this last summer, but it couldn't quite get it over the line. I think last summer there was another move that he was almost about to do that couldn't quite get over the line. So he suddenly played better when there's an opportunity for him to play his way out of FC Cincinnati. But beyond that, they've got Acosta's great. He's totally changed their team. Vasquez, borderline is the player that everybody thought should have been playing for the U.S. national team last summer. So they've definitely changed their ways, and I think it was really smart for them to have basically poached everything from Philadelphia Union, because outside of winning the actual cup, Philadelphia Union has arguably like been the most well-run franchise in MLS. Their academy is incredible. Their reserve team is usually incredible. Their team has been top of the East, Supporter Shield winners. That the last kind of thing Philadelphia needs to do to kind of like cement themselves is actually win the MLS Cup. Is the last kind of thing they haven't been able to do yet. So if you're gonna poach people, mimic a franchise's way of operating, Philadelphia Union is the best way to go. And that's exactly what FC Cincinnati has done. And I think that's exactly why they've positioned themselves to go from perennial wooden spoon winner to, team that's contending not only to be in the playoffs, but in the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference. So in all our matchups with FC Cincinnati, this one is probably going to be the toughest, just because they're so different now. Their attack is so much better. Their team structure is so much better. Their coaching is so much better. And from the perspective of this season, we've only allowed one goal all season. It was in last week's 1-0 loss to New England. But as hard as it is to say, FC Cincinnati's attack is going to be the attack we faced all season. So it's going to be a huge challenge. I think, it's hard to say what's going to happen, because we've been kind of disjointed so far this season with the injuries, with the adjustments, time to time, the way Gary's kind of changed things up from match to match. Final score, US 7, Granada 1. Match just went final. Sorry. But, it's hard to say, because, on paper, I would still favor Nashville SC in this match, but it's Randall Leal is out. That's officially confirmed, and he has got an incredible track record against FC Cincinnati, so goals and assist record, to not have him available kind of sucks. Gary said Godoy. He's expecting Godoy to be available, but Gary is... Rule of thumb is whatever Gary says is in terms of a player's injury record, you can probably tack 2 to 3 weeks onto that. So if he says Godoy is available for selection, I would expect Godoy not to be back until like mid-April in terms of being able to start at least. But I kind of want to see our new guy, Jan Grey Goose, start in this match, because it's hard to fully judge it, because New England had kind of taken their foot off the gas at the end of the match last week. But when Grey Goose came in that match, like, we just had so much more control of the ball. He was able to keep the ball in possession. He was able to distribute it well. He was springing passes all over the pitch. He was giving us something that nobody else in the team was really able to give us. So I'd like to see him get the start today. I don't know if Gary will, just because he typically slow plays, putting people on the team. Outside of Shaq Moore. Shaq Moore got inserted right away. Like, outside of that, like, most of the time when a new player comes in or a player's coming off injury, Gary kind of slow bleeds them into the team. But I would love to see Jean Grey Goose start this match. I think he could be a key component in helping us, keep possession, creating key passes when we need them. I think he can do that in a way that, the other midfield options right now can't. So I'd like to see Jean Gregu start. Jace Williams is back. Sup, Jace Williams? Um, yeah, but it's weird because like most of the talk about this match throughout the week, at least amongst the fan base, has been is this a rivalry or not? And I mean, to me, it is. I mean, I love like Cincinnati's one of the easiest routes for us to get to. It's you don't have like we don't have an MLS team in Memphis. We don't have an MLS team in Knoxville. So who's our rival going to be? It's got to be Cincinnati. It's got to be Atlanta. Atlanta, in a sense, feels more natural to me just because Atlanta was was the place like we'd go there every summer for like Braves games, or we'd go there just to hang out in the summer if we needed like a quick trip for the summer. So Atlanta always seemed like the place that was like nearest to Nashville to me, but they've kind of already got their thing going with Orlando, and there hasn't been as much banter with their fans, at least from what I've seen online, as there is with FC Cincinnati. So like, I understand why FC Cincinnati fans, I mentioned this earlier, feel like we're not the rival. For like Columbus is the rival, but you can have multiple rivals. It's okay. It's kind of makes it more fun if you have multiple rivals. Like the Titans. Titans don't really have like a full blown rival. It's kind of the Colts just because like we've been mostly the two teams that have been contending for our division, so that's kind of like a competitive rivalry, but it's not like an animosity rivalry. We're like, oh, we hate the city of Indianapolis because they're all scumbags. Houston should probably be the Titans' most natural rival just because we stole their team and they've come back and that. But weirdly, like Houston and the Texans and the Titans seemingly are never competitive at the same point in time. Like the best years of the Texans were like the worst possible years the Titans ever had, and the best years of the Titans, the Texans have been trash. So it's like if we could ever get on the level where like the Texans and the Titans were competitive with each other at the same point in time, that could be an epic rivalry just because of the history of the two franchises, but it's never played out that way. And I think that's partially the reason why FC Cincinnati doesn't consider us a rival, because we're not necessarily like locally to them, and we've kind of, we haven't won the rivalry, so to speak, but they've never been able to beat us, and we've been much better in MLS than they have. So I can see why they'd be like, nope, we're rivals. We're rivals with Columbus. They're in Ohio. We're in Ohio. That's our rival. You guys keep winning, playoff games. Keep making the playoffs while we win spoons. We're going to be feuding with Columbus. We're going to do that. But I think if, like, now that they're competitive, now that we're competitive, I think this match has a chance to, like, really spark it. Now that we're both back in the Eastern Conference, because I would expect there's going to be a lot of Cincinnati fans at the match tomorrow. I would expect when we go to Cincinnati, there's going to be a lot of Nashville SC fans that go to the match. So I think this season, with us both being back in the same conference, both being in contention for playoff spots in that conference, I think you're going to see that rivalry kind of reignite, re-spark, and like you won't be able to deny it going forward. And you could see that with Atlanta as well. But I mean, Atlanta's just killing everybody right now, so I don't know if I want to be rivals with Atlanta right now because they are very, very dominant right now. But I definitely, I don't think you have to have just one rival. Like, oh, no, Columbus is a rival. Like, I really look at it on the page, the three teams that, in my mind, that should be Nashville SC's rivals are FC Cincinnati, because we have the history going back all the way to USL. So, I mean, that's like the deepest one we have. Atlanta, because that's just a natural kind of regional rivalry. And this one's kind of a personal one for me, but I would like Orlando to become a rival of ours because I love going to Orlando. If you're new to the channel, if you've never watched any videos, I go to Orlando quite a bit. So if Nashville SC Orlando became a huge rivalry, that'd be pretty cool for me because I love going to Orlando. So I love spending time there. 2 years in a row, we've gotten Orlando on a really fun date, but I haven't been able to go down there for that match. Last year, we played Orlando on Halloween. This year, we're playing Orlando on April Fool's Day. Both last year, both this year, because of real life commitments, I haven't been able to make the travel to go do those matches. And that's unfortunate because I am desperate to go down to Orlando for a Nashville SC Orlando match. But it is what it is. It's going to be a really good match. I think one way or the other, it's going to be very competitive. It's going to be, might be the highest scoring match you've seen out of Nashville SC this season, just because their attack's going to be better than what we've seen all season. I don't think Gary's going to park the bus or play any kind of weird like Wheel as a right wing back, Shaq Moore as a right center back type formation. I think he's going to play his standard attacking formation. So I think it'll be a pretty open, pretty well attacked match. I could see it being 3-2 final score with either team winning. It's really a hard match to predict at this point. But I talked about Grey Goose a little bit. I would love to see, this is the lineup I would love to see Gary pull out tomorrow. And I don't think he will. But I would love to see our standard back four, Lovitz, Meyer, Zimmerman, Moore. A midfield three of Grey Goose, Dax, Sean Davis. A front three of Schaffelberg, Fafa, and Hani. You can play Hani as a true striker. You can play Hani as a false nine. You can play him as whatever you want. But I just think that would be like the best lineup we could possibly throw out there tomorrow. I think the more likely lineup is the standard back four, Sean Davis and either Dax or Grey Goose in center mid, Fafa, Schaffelberg on either side of them, two strikers, or one real striker, one half striker, Hani and either Teal or Sapong. But I'd love to see just like a midfield three. Put Janus, Dax, Sean Davis in there together. Because I don't think Godoy's coming back. Like he said, he looked good he looked good at training all week long. I think he's about ready to come back. That means Godoy will be back in like 3 weeks by Gary speak. So I'd love to see, because I said it before, I thought like Anunga playing in a midfield three with Dax and Sean Davis would be interesting, just to like get dynamic, different type of play in there. But I loved what I saw at Grey Goose in the brief cameo he made last week, so I'd love to see him get a start. I'd love to see him like play alongside those other guys. I think they can really complement each other really well. Sean Davis will do all the running. He'll cover every blade of grass. Grey Goose has the athleticism to kind of do a little bit of extra, and he can make all the passes. And then Dax is just kind of like, there to do the extra stuff. So I'd love to see that midfield three if Godoy's not going to play, but I don't expect that. I expect we'll get exactly what you would think the starting lineup will be from Gary tomorrow. But, yeah, like I said, if I was going to predict a scoreline, I'd predict 3-2, but I don't know who wins in that scenario. But, so if you're looking to bet like a over or both teams to score, I think both of those are probably safe bets tomorrow. On the same train as the Nashville SC stuff, one other thing that's really exciting this weekend is our MLS Next Pro team, our reserve team, starts their season. Huntsville begins their season Sunday at 2 o'clock, I believe, their first match of the season. And it's weird. They've kind of got the same scenario we had last season, where they're going to play like the first 7 or 8 matches of the season on the road, because they're renovating the stadium that's going to be their home stadium, Joe Davis Stadium in Huntsville. So this match will be on Apple TV. You'll be able to stream. I'm definitely going to watch it Sunday afternoon, because I'm totally interested in seeing how that all plays out, how having a reserve team plays out. Do any of these guys break their way into the first team, especially with like some of the academy kids, Sepicic or whatever his name is, that's already knocking on the door of getting into the reserve team from the academy team. It's going to be hugely interesting to watch Huntsville this season. Their first home game at the renovated Joe Davis Stadium, I hope I'm saying that right, is scheduled to be May 19th. I am tentatively planning to go to that match because I think my schedule will allow me to go down there. I think my work schedule will open up in a way, and my just general schedule will open up in a way where that's a Friday night. I can drive down to Huntsville on a Friday night and go to that match. I think that would be awesome. Like, I'm really excited. The Academy and Huntsville are two of the things that I'm most excited about for this season, just in general of Nashville SC, just to see how they start their operations, see how long it takes for players from both of those to come into the team. So I'm hoping to be able to go down for the home opener May 19th if I can work it into my schedule. Definitely will be watching the live stream of their first match this weekend against like Charlotte's MLS Next Pro team. It'll be on the Apple TV broadcast, which is awesome. Like, another cool feature of the MLS Season Pass Apple TV deal is having that whole league's games being broadcast on there. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait to watch that. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to hopefully going down there in the end of May to watch a home match, and maybe going to a few more matches throughout the season, throughout the summer as it goes. But Super excited to see Huntsville. They unveiled their first kit. It was the away kit, I guess, because that's, they're going to be having a lot of away matches start. It's a pretty clean, pretty basic white kit. I'm going to wait and see what the home kit's going to be but I'm definitely going to buy a Huntsville kit this season. Super excited about Huntsville. Super excited about Huntsville. So, um, yeah, a lot of big stuff coming up this weekend for Nashville C and their affiliated brands. But we've also had some other stuff going on lately with our local teams. Obviously, I like to talk about Titans on here. Um, Slightly quiet, slightly weird week for the Titans. Started the week off by adding another free agent. We signed Sean Murphy Bunting, cornerback from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kind of a mixed bag on reviews of how he is, but I mean, at the end of the day, he's probably better than what we had as our, second, third cornerback option. So he definitely improves our depth. Is he going to be a superstar, all Pro Bowl cornerback? Probably not. But I mean, got him on a 1-year deal at a reasonable price. So, and if he stays healthy, if he's on the field, he's going to be better than what we've had lately. So, and I think that's kind of like the standard kind of tail of the tape for a lot of the free agent signings the Titans have made. There hasn't been anybody that's going to like blow your socks off. There's not going to be anybody that's going to be like game changer, completely change the team, turn us into a Super Bowl contender. But everybody we signed so far has been a solid player with a good track record, particularly with not being able to, particularly with not injury records, guys that can stay on the field for the most part, which is huge for the Titans. So, are we going to suddenly be a Super Bowl contender based on the signings we made so far? No, but is our depth and our quality of the squad overall better? Yeah, I think so. So, and looking at the AFC South so far, I mean, the Colts seem to have taken a major step backwards. The Texans are probably, depending on what they do with their draft, like, they're probably going to be a little bit better, but they're still probably not, like, a world beater. And I think people are, like, way too high on the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars took advantage of the fact that we completely fell apart and that the rest of the division sucked. And, like, now everybody's kind of looking at the Jaguars and going, oh, this is the real deal. The Jaguars are back. Jaguars are back. And I'm like, are they? Or are they still just the regular Jaguars? Time will tell. So I feel kind of confident with the free agent signing the Titans made that it's not a rebuilding year. It's not necessarily a blow it up and tank year. I feel like we've built a squad so far that can potentially contend for the AFC South title. Probably not a Super Bowl, which is, annoying, but you never know. And it's going to be interesting because we kind of put ourselves in a position with the players we've signed that we have the quality of squad to where there's no one position we initially have to reach for at that number 11 pick in the draft. We can kind of look at the options and see who the best available player is and kind of go that way. Although I'm feeling more and more likely it has to be a wide receiver because DJ Chark signed today. Marquise Godwin signed today. A ton of the wide receivers that were still out there as free agents all signed today, like weirdly. And that's, outside of offensive line, that was the biggest area of weakness for the Titans. And they haven't addressed it at all in free agency. The only thing they've done has been to re-sign Nick Westbrook-Akine, which hopefully, I don't have any hatred towards him as long as he's like the fourth or fifth receiver on the chart. If he's the second or third receiver on the chart, or, sometimes when injuries happen, the first receiver on the chart, that's a problem. So it has been kind of annoying, kind of frustrating that the Titans have not gone out and signed any other receivers in free agency. Like, this was a kind of weak market for wide receivers in free agency. And I can see why they'd be a little gun shy because they've gotten burned so bad by like their recent acquisitions of veteran free agent or veteran wide receivers. Julio Jones, Robert Woods, basically every veteran wide receiver the Titans have ever brought in has been terrible. They've never worked out. So I can see why they'd be a little gun shy about that. But at the same time, if we're not going wide receiver with that first pick in the first round, we're looking at Treylon Burks, who looks promising, Kyle Phillips, who played 1.5 games before just like being randomly injured the whole season, and NWI, who is just great special teams player, solid, like, fourth or fifth option receiver, but like right now he's the third receiver on the depth chart, or maybe even the second ahead of Kyle Phillips, and that's not great. So it is kind of frustrating that they haven't made any kind of moves or tried to do anything at the receiver position in the offseason, but at the same time, you kind of look at who's out there, who's available, and were any of them really worth a reach, worth like wasting cap space on? I don't know. There was a lot of talk, DeAndre Hopkins is on the trade block for the Cardinals. A lot of talk I think it's more amongst the fan base. I don't really think the Titans are in the mix for him. It sounds like it's more like the Patriots were, but maybe they're not anymore. I don't think it makes much sense. Like, he's barely been able to stay on the field between suspensions and injuries the last 2 seasons. So he was incredible at his best, no doubt, but like he's not, the player he once was. I don't think maybe having all this time off, he's rested up, he's better, but I mean, we got burned on Robert Woods, we got burned on Julio Jones. I don't think we need to waste draft capital, especially when we need so many pieces replaced. We need to keep as many draft picks as we can. I'm usually a huge proponent of, draft picks aren't as valuable as you think they are. Trade them if you can get a great player. But I think we've gotten burned by trading for players that weren't great anymore too many times recently. So I think most people are on the same page. Hopkins should not be an option for the Titans. Let a team that's like closer to contending, that has draft picks to waste, trade for him and go for that. The other interesting one this offseason in terms of like potential trades, potential acquisitions, was for whatever reason this last week, the odds on who Lamar Jackson would play for next season jumped greatly in terms of the Titans potentially playing for Lamar Jackson potentially playing for the Titans. We jumped up to being the team in the Vegas odds right behind the Ravens in terms of who he might play for. And I don't think there's any like substance to that. Like I'm sure every team has like followed up on that and like looked into that and thought what could potentially happen with that. But I think maybe the reason the Titans suddenly had a surge in odds on like the Vegas odds makers is that after the Panthers traded up to the first pick overall with the Bears, you could kind of see the lay of the land for where the 4 quarterbacks that are expected to go pretty high in the draft will go. Not necessarily who will go where, but you can kind of see by the time the Titans pick at 11, those 4 quarterbacks will likely be off the board. So the Titans are a team that is likely to potentially be looking for a quarterback in other means other than the draft. So I think that's kind of where they surged up in terms of odds for Lamar Jackson, is Vegas kind of just saying, well, Titans probably aren't going to get one of the rookie quarterbacks. They might still be in the market to go for a quarterback, so that puts them in position more than other teams to go for Lamar Jackson. But I still, like, similar to DeAndre Hopkins, I don't think the team can afford to give up the draft capital and the cap space it would take to get Lamar Jackson. Like, would Lamar Jackson as a Titan be awesome? Absolutely, yes. It would be absolutely incredible, but you would have to give up 2 first-round draft picks, a ton of cap space to give him the deal he's looking to get him. And I think the Titans at this point in time just need every draft pick they can get, need all the cap space they can get to replenish and refresh the roster. Like I said, like in certain situations, if you're close to a championship and like Lamar Jackson is the quarterback that can get you there, give up the house for him. Trade like 5 first-round picks for him. I don't think the Titans are in that spot, so I don't think it's worth it for the long run to give up draft capital, give up salary cap space to get him. As much as I would love to see him be a player for the Tennessee Titans, it just doesn't seem to make much sense. And I think the reason his odds shifted, the Titans' odds shifted, is that we're kind of the next team in line that probably needs a new quarterback outside of the teams that will probably get their quarterback in the draft. But I don't think it's going to happen. I would be shocked if it happens, to be honest. Richard Greenberg in the chat said, happy birthday. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it, Richard. He said he just watched John Wick Chapter 4, and it was awesome. I'm going to tell you something right now. I am a little bit embarrassed to say I have never seen any of the John Wick movies, and I know I would love them if I see them, and I'm embarrassed that I'm completely not involved in that franchise because all I've ever heard is how awesome the movies are. They all seem to be right up my alley, but it's just one of those things where, like, once you miss one and then you miss the second one, you're like, oh, now I've got to watch 3 movies. I've never just, like, been able to, like, fully, like, find the time to get back into it, like, and to jump in that franchise. It's starting to get that way with Marvel movies for me. I've watched all the Marvel movies, but now I'm behind on Black Panther, Ant-Man, probably something else. I like, once you get behind on stuff, it feels hard to get caught up. I definitely want to watch all the John Wick movies, for sure. Like, I definitely want to watch all the John Wick movies at some point in time, but I'm embarrassed to say I've not watched them at all. Middle Tennessee Pyro said, happy birthday, Matt. Hey, Middle Tennessee Pyro, you want to do a little extra stuff tomorrow for my birthday at the Nashville SC match? A few extra fireworks. Spell my name out in the sky. Happy birthday, Matt. Fireworks. I'd appreciate that if you could do that. But yeah, sad to say, embarrassed to say, have not watched any of the John Wick movies. But I will do that. Now that Richard has told me that they are awesome and that part 4 is awesome, I'm going to make a commitment sometime in the next couple months. I'm going to get caught up on John Wick because that's what I need to do. Let's wrap up. Next week, I'm going to give a little preview of what's coming up on the channel next week. Next weekend, April 1st, April 2nd, 2 nights, Wrestlemania. If you watch the channel, if you follow the channel closely, you know I'm big into wrestling. I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. Wrestlemania, the granddaddy of them all, the showcase of the Immortals. It's coming up next weekend. I'm super pumped for it, especially because, like, I don't know, it's obviously the Triple H effect, but WWE has been so much better over the last, like, 8 to 9 months than it has been in forever. So, like, this is the WrestleMania I've probably looked forward to more than anything since, like, WrestleMania 30 when, like, Daniel Bryan was going for the title. So next week on the channel, I'm planning to do kind of like a WrestleMania week theme. Obviously, we'll have our crumble cookie video. That's going to happen because we have to do that every week, obviously. But I've got a few other plans to kind of build to WrestleMania. If you watched recently, we had a WWE 2K3 video where I got WWE 2K23, played it, created my own character. I'm going to take WWE 2K23, that's such a tongue twister, simulate some of the top matches from WrestleMania, see what they think is going to happen. We'll do Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. We'll do the Usos versus Owens and Zayn. We'll do Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley. We'll do like 5 or 6 of the top matches from the card. Let WWE 2K23 simulate them, see what happens there. That'll be a video. I'm going to do a vlog ranking every WrestleMania, in my opinion, from WrestleMania 1 to last year's WrestleMania. I'm going to rank them all. There'll be a video ranking that. I might have another WrestleMania video. I've got 2 or 3 other ideas for WrestleMania videos that I'm going to do. And next week's live stream on Friday night, I will give my official predictions for who's going to win each and every match in this year's WrestleMania. Super excited for that. Middle Tennessee Pyro is going to miss his first NSC game, but he's bringing the boom and pressing the button for Vandy 150th anniversary party tomorrow night. Oh my God. Huge night in Nashville. Nashville SC versus FC Cincinnati. Vandy's 105th anniversary party. Good night to be a Nashvilleian tomorrow night, looks like. All right, well, that's going to wrap up tonight's live stream. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover tonight. Let me look over my notes, see if I missed anything. Nope, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, as always. We'll be at the game tomorrow, Nashville SC versus FC Cincinnati at Geodis Park, so you can expect to see a live game day vlog. After that match, my birthday weekend's going to be awesome. Me and my wife are going out to a very special dinner Sunday night. Could be a video coming from that one. And then, of course, like I mentioned, next week is going to be all about WrestleMania. So stay tuned to the channel, subscribe, turn the bell on for notifications so you never miss any updates. Thank you for watching. I certainly appreciate you. We've had 2 big celebrations 2 weeks in a row. Last week, we hit 1,000 subscribers. This week, it's my birthday. Appreciate all y'all. Y'all have all made it happen. Appreciate everything you do. Hope to see you soon. Good night.